today's video, we're going to be discussing if and why sociology is a soft subject. Now, if you're a humanities student or sociology student, you're going to be very familiar with people telling you that sociology is a soft subject, English is a soft subject, and all of that. And it really pisses me off, to say the least. So yeah, in this video, we're going to be talking about who decides what is a soft subject, what is a soft subject, what is the motive behind it, and how does it affect society. So I'm really excited to be talking about this because I studied sociology, I studied art, and all this stuff is very close to my experience. So let's get into this video and talk all about it. So as you can see from these comments on Reddit and the student room, there's a lot of opinions flying around about what soft subjects are, the difference between soft subjects and hard subjects. So let's go into a brief history of soft subjects first. Generally speaking, hard subjects are the natural sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, maths, things like that. And soft subjects are everything else, basically. And a very reliable source, aka Wikipedia, says hard subjects are usually called so because they're testable and falsifiable subjects, topics, aka an answer that can be found and proved to be either wrong or right. On the other hand, soft subjects are just debatable. So Norman's Law in 1967 was maybe one of the first to coin and define soft sciences. And, you know, he was actually more concerned about, I'm reading the quote here, a conceptual framework within which science can be fruitfully viewed as a social phenomenon. So he's not really trying to define what is a soft and a hard subject, although he does. His main goal is to say that actually science is a theory, science is a social phenomenon. And I think this is really important because we've all kind of forgotten that science is a theory and we treat it as fact when it's actually not. And we're not going to get into what science is and whether sociology is a science in this video, which I may do on a future one. It's quite a big topic. But, you know, there's a debate on the sociology of science, whether science should be setting out to try and prove or disprove itself, right? Those are two completely different perspectives. Science, we think, is a fact when it's literally just a theory, like a lot of things, for example, like neoliberalism and things like that. We try and we see it as a normality when actually it's just another theory that's been, you know, paraded as fact. And of course, you can already see the holes in the whole like soft v hard subject debate and argument. And the least of which is that methodologies, the use of different methodologies doesn't mean that one thing is harder than the other. It doesn't mean that one is less valuable than the other. So let's talk about Comte and the hierarchy of the sciences. I think it's really important and interesting to talk about this because it's basically the idea that sciences progress through development at different stages and different rates. So the hierarchy goes physics, chemistry, biology, and then sociology. Obviously, that misses out a lot of things that we consider now to be hard subjects or sciences. But interestingly, he categorizes sociology as a science here. I keep saying I'm not going to go into this, but I keep mentioning it. So I should definitely do a video on that, whether sociology is a science. Let me know if you want that below. But does there need to be a hierarchy is what I'm thinking. You know, capitalism is obsessed with competition and rankings, so naturally subjects need to be ranked as well, and unfortunately that's how it's played out in society as well. You know, why can't we just see subjects as giving different value and different benefits? You know, science has obviously made so many amazing discoveries for us, not least in the field of like medicine, and just generally everything's a science, right? Science, sorry. Whereas like sociology, humanities, you know, they give us entertainment, they give us, you know, a love for life. I don't know where I'm going with this, but like an appreciation for what is, like art, for example. But clearly the Russell Group universities don't think so, because they came out with a guide called Informed Choices. And it differentiated between facilitating subjects, surprise, things like physics, chemistry, maths, English lit, and those that are not facilitating subjects, and it heavily implies that you should do at least 2 facilitating subjects in order to get into a Russell Group uni, as the BBC article said. So if you want to check out the guide, this is not the original one because they actually redid it because of a lot of criticism. You can find a link in the description below. So yeah, as a warning, obviously take all this with a grain of salt because this is Russell Group universities. And it's interesting to note that, yeah, this was actually scrapped in 2019 and revised. So you'll find the revised version below because the other one doesn't exist anymore. At least I couldn't find it anyway. And it shows just how antiquated the education system is, especially with higher education, which is kind of still an elitist kind of privilege, right? In a lot of ways, university is a big privilege, even though there's a lot of thought about, is university needed? You can go with the apprenticeship route, degree apprenticeship, just go straight into internships. There's a lot of options out there, so just to put that out there as well. And of course, the idea of Russell Group universities is hugely elitist in itself. It's literally just a group of universities that decided to get together in 1994 and decided that they are the prestigious universities. And I studied sociology at the University of Bath, which consistently ranks among the top universities for sociology in the United Kingdom. And Bath is not actually a Russell Group university. Like, does it make it any less valuable? No, definitely not. And it shows that concepts in groups like the Ivy League and Russell Group is very arbitrary. So yeah, we'll leave it at that for the brief history of hard and soft subjects. Okay, let's talk about the perceptions of hard and soft subjects and how that affects society. So generally, people just don't understand what sociology is. They think it's just common sense. They think like, oh, you're going to be a social worker or something, which I addressed in this video here where I talked about careers and things like, there's no one path, there's no one set path. And another thing is that sociology is seen as almost like a pseudoscience. It's like it's called a social science, and that makes sense because it's the study of social, study of society. But people think that that's not a real science. It's a soft subject. It's a soft science. It's at the bottom of the rank of the hierarchy of sciences, like Comte said. And so I think people's perceptions of sociology are definitely not to be blamed on like ignorance or anything. It's just that it's systemic and it's been passed down over generations, this kind of idea of different subjects, and consolidated by the world of work, consolidated by our economy and what it favors, as we will see in a bit, like what the government favors as well. And the perception of people who study sociology are seen as like lazy, unintelligent, a bit soft, basically. And what I want to say is that people who study these sorts of subjects, it's actually their interests. Not everyone who picks hard subjects likes it, but most people who study like soft subjects are actually somewhat interested. Obviously not everyone's going to love it, but the vast majority of people who pick subjects like art, photography or media, or I don't know why I'm just going for the arts here, but like sociology, like most of us are vaguely interested in it, right? Most of us. Whereas hard subjects like medicine, science, physics, maths, engineering, a lot of people are obviously passionate, but some people are literally just doing it because they feel like it'll get them better job prospects. And it's really unfortunate that society has taught us to think this way, because I wouldn't be here if I thought that way. I wouldn't be here if I thought that sociology wouldn't get me good job prospects, because here I am in a job. The notion that we're lazy and unintelligent and that sociology is easy is also a very common misconception of any soft subject. It looks like you don't really use your brain, like doing art or music, for example. I literally did music for GCSE and art for A-level, and they took over my life. Art especially, it took over my like A-level completely, and it kind of killed my creative drive for art. Long story short, I was going to do art like at art school, but I discovered sociology and here I am today. But yeah, often you'll need to spend a lot more time and maybe even a lot more money on material, on courses, on things that they don't teach you in school for these sorts of subjects. Like art, you need to get a lot of materials. I keep using art as an example because that's the easiest one to make, but with sociology, you know, it's a lot of critical thinking. It's a lot of thinking outside of your comfort zone. It's a lot of being challenged. It's not easy at all, you know, whereas maybe science and maths is more black and white. You know, there's a right answer, there's a wrong answer. Sometimes this is good. Some people, you know, sometimes I also like a good black and white answer, and my brain is just not up for thinking about something. But oftentimes, the reason why we are at this state in society is because we don't think critically. We're just following the crowd. We're just following what is the status quo, and unfortunately that means a lot of us aren't actually doing what's right for us or what we actually like. Even Norman Storer, the guy who's first talked about hard and soft subjects, didn't really think that the relative difficulty between the subjects was enough to distinguish between hard and soft sciences or subjects, as we're talking here. He says, however, I'm not satisfied that it is simply the relative difficulty involved in mastering different subjects that, you know, distinguishes the two. Unfortunately, this also contributes to the whole narrative about skilled and unskilled labor. Obviously, this is very different. This is talking about subjects and not talking about jobs, but it is a very similar concept about a polar opposite comparison between groups of subjects, one that is deemed higher, more prestigious, more of value, more worthy of higher pay and recognition, such as skilled labor and hard subjects, whereas soft subjects and unskilled labor is overlooked. And actually, they bring a lot of value and they actually hold up a lot more of society than people think. You know, if unskilled labor, if people didn't take up unskilled jobs, where would the cleaners be? You know, where would our dustbin people be? Like our trash would be all over the place. I said trash, rubbish will be all over the place. You know, like we need everyone to contribute, and this very elitist viewpoint is just very sad, very sad. And like I said, the government also doesn't value subjects like ours, subjects like sociology and stuff, because believe it or not, the government launched a campaign to encourage people to retrain as you know, security jobs and like tech jobs, and it was really criticized, and I'm not surprised. And it was kind of funny to see, like, who thought of this campaign and how many hoops did I have to get through and how many people did I have to get through in order to be approved, and them still not see the flaws in this. Anyway, one of the main ones was of a ballet dancer called Fatima, and it basically said that like Fatima's next job could be in cyber, but she doesn't know it yet, and reskill, rethink, reboot, something like that's the tagline of the campaign. And it's basically insinuating that a creative person, you know, specifically in this case a ballet dancer, a dancer, someone in the arts, you know, their job isn't as skilled, as valuable as someone in cybersecurity or tech is. And that is a very flawed mindset, because if we didn't have ballet dancers, if we didn't have musicians, graphic designers, even the person who, you know, one of the biggest like flaws in this thing, and which many people discussed, is that ad was literally created by creative people, you know, marketers, soft subject people, marketers, graphic designers, copywriters. They're all inarguably like creative or in soft subjects, you know. But the ad is literally telling them to retrain and upskill. So it's hard not to see why people got like pissed off. And another thing is that because of this divide, it is also seen that hard and soft subjects can either advantage you or disadvantage you. Now, I'm not saying that this is not true, but this thinking is very detrimental, especially when you're talking about underrepresented and underserved people. So one of the arguments for the Informed Choices Guide that we were talking about earlier is that it emphasizes the importance of facilitating subjects such as maths and English, which are particularly effective in equipping students with the skills they need for a large number of competitive courses. And in the BBC article, it also said that a quote from a Director General of the Russell Group said that it's really important that students do not disadvantage themselves by choosing a combination of subjects at A-level, which will not equip them with the appropriate skills and knowledge for the university course, or demonstrate effectively their aptitude for a particular subject. Now, what is appropriate, right? What is the skills? What is the appropriate skills? Like I said in my career video, a lot of the time it's literally just about transferable skills, and it's not necessarily about like being able to do 1 + 1 is 2, you know. I'm not saying that that's what maths is, but you know, of what I remember of my maths GCSE. So yeah, it's really annoying when they use that as an excuse, like because they want to support people from underrepresented backgrounds. Who knows, they might want to go into arts, but you're pigeonholing them because it sounds like it's the best option, but you know, it's not in all cases. For my final thoughts on this, the implications of having sociology as a soft subject and you know the stigmas that come around the idea of soft and hard subjects, or soft subjects here specifically, we are talking about people in society not being aware of how society is built up. And if you study sociology, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, your eyes have probably been opened so much about how society works. And think about your peers. They don't know this. They're literally walking around blind almost. And this is not to say that, you know, ignorance is not bliss, because it definitely is. Sometimes I wish I didn't know all this stuff. It would make life so much easier and happier. But at the end of the day, ignorance is not, it is bliss, but it won't take you through life, right? It won't get you through life. Like, you're gonna be faced with the reality of things sooner or later in any way. And we run the risk of the same cycles happening again and again, especially when it comes to world events, when it comes to justice and the social space. Things repeat itself, right? We already seen this happening. You know, obviously we are coming a long way in terms of equity is better, but we need to go a lot further. And one of the main things is also by not having people recognize sociology as like a valuable subject is that people are just less critical and less compassionate, less critical in their thinking, I mean, and being able to question the world around us. So yeah, that's another thing. And a quote that I found that is particularly relevant, I think, is that it's not that artists don't have space in the modern world, it's that people don't want to pay them for their expertise. And this relates very much to sociology. It's not that, you know, there isn't space for this thought, there is space for this thought, most definitely. But whether it's valued and whether it is open for debate and welcome into public spaces is very different, especially when it comes to government and things, because we all know they don't really want us to study sociology, you know, for various reasons, which is why I think, again, that sociology is relegated to the realm of soft subjects. But yeah, I just generally think it's such a shame that people don't study sociology more. Like, I think it should be a general subject. I think it should be taught to everyone, because there's just so many important topics, and it's just such a broad subject that people don't recognize. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know, what do you think about soft subjects? Have you ever felt like you have been, you know, looked down upon for doing sociology? Do you still struggle with this? Like, let me know. If you have any questions, obviously link them below, leave them in the comments, and I'll make sure to reply. With all that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye.